Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Focus. Today we have an exemplary person from Lake County, Cyrl, and they call him CJ Jarvis, from the Cyrvent Enterprises.
Yes, Cyrvent Enterprises.
Cyrvent Enterprises. Yeah, it's a marketing and an investment group. Good morning, Mr. Jarvis.
Good morning, Dr. Brooks. Glad to be here this morning with you, sir.
We're very happy that you've taken literally from your busy schedule to be with us. And I don't know how many people are up at 5 o'clock this morning listening to the program, but the program airs every Sunday morning at 5 a.m. Okay. Lake County is approximately over 800,000 people, and we have a great group of people that are listening to the program. First of all, I want you to tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background.
Well, first of all, Dr. Brooks, I want to thank you for inviting me on your program.
Okay.
I have to say that when we first moved to the Lake County area back in 1982, my wife and I had just gotten married that year, and we moved to this area. I got my first job. And we got a chance to meet you. We had two young children in a year later, in 83, we had two children at the time. And we were blessed to have them come to your business.
Tots and Toddlers.
There you go. and I have to say also that your wife, Dr. Daisy Brooks, and yourself have been mentors for us. Every time we see you, we are greeted with a smile and a hug and the love that's always been there for over 30-something years now. Okay. And we just want to say thank you so much for that. Just before moving here, I had just graduated from Luther College in Decorah, Iowa, where I met my wife. Okay. We had our first child when we were on campus, and after we came back here and got married and got started, I started working with Oscar Drugs when it used to be over there, when it used to be Lakehurst, believe it or not.
Okay,
and it used to be where the LA Fitness Gym is now. That should be a Jewel Osco store.
Right.
That was my first job here.
Wow.
And like I said, we moved to North Chicago, and you guys were generous in your accepting our kids and everything else, and got us started on our journey here in this area. Mm-hmm. Prior to going to school, though, believe it or not, a lot of people always say, well, how did you get to Iowa being from the Bahamas? And I have to say that I was born and raised in Nassau in the Bahamas, and my family moved to Freeport, so I am very excited about being from a country like that because it gives me someplace exciting to go to every time I take vacation. Okay. And not only do I go to enjoy myself in the beautiful islands of the Bahamas, but I get to see my family and enjoy that time with them as well. Mm-hmm. But after I got here, I found out one thing about me, and that was, and I think it's from my background and from my culture, where as a country, we are very entrepreneurial. And what I mean by that is that the country is a small country, and a lot of times just having a job is not enough to make ends meet. Mm-hmm. And so you'll have a lot of people that understand the culture and the desire to do more and have more by starting their own business. Mm-hmm. So that has always been in me. And my family and my father, I've never known my father to work for anyone, my uncles to work for anyone. They always had their own business. So that was embedded in me from I was young. Okay. I also was excited about that fact because it gave me opportunities here in this great country of the United States to really do a lot of things. I got involved with being a mortgage broker and a mortgage loan officer at the start, and did quite well. Mm-hmm. And after I was able to be successful with that, I started branching out and started several different businesses. And I will have to say this, Dr. Brooks, some of those businesses were successful, and some of them weren't so successful. Okay. But I come to learn in my later years that is the way God plans things. He doesn't let you everything be smooth because then you won't learn anything. Mm-hmm. And I think the things that I experienced that were not as positive or were not as successful I wanted them to be, they were a learning and a stepping stone for me to get me to the next level. Mm-hmm. So ever since I've been here, I've been working for myself in some capacity. I've got involved with network marketing and wrote a book called Unlimited Success in Untapped Market, along with my business partner at the time, Lorette Levy, and was pretty successful in getting people to understand the importance of at least thinking about doing something for yourself as opposed to just working for 40 years for somebody else. So that was where my heart was just not just doing it, but encouraging and enticing people to look at that aspect of the ability to earn money as an alternative. So that kind of leads me up to where I'm at today, basically. A little bit more about my family. I've been married to my wife now for 31 years this year.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm part of the Silent Dove Ministry, where my senior pastor is Pastor Harry Stackhouse and Deborah Stackhouse. And I've been there now for about 18 years. And we have 3 beautiful children. My oldest son is Jeremy. He's married and he's got a daughter and one on the way next month. He has a little boy coming on the way. So the generation is moving on. Okay. I have a daughter that lives in Arlington, Texas, and she has 2 children and one on the way. Wow. And I have my youngest son is Jerome. He's still trying to find what he's going to do. But he'll be going to school in August to learn horticulture. So we're excited about that. So that really keeps me busy, staying just staying in touch with them and doing things with them and my grandchildren, and then just being involved with businesses and encouraging other people to do the same.
I like to see them. I probably wouldn't recognize Jeremy, it's been over 30 years ago.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad to hear that they got a great start.
Yes.
From the beginning. Tell you mentioned about the Bahamas. It's important, the importance of family, and it's evidently it was important and still important in your life because you still, believe in a family life.
Absolutely. One thing my wife and I understood was that even though we were living here in the United States, that it was important that our children even knew their history, the culture of the Bahamas, and their family. So we did move back for about 3 years. My wife came down for about a year. We were kind of commuting back and forth. But where our children were able to spend time down there in the Bahamas. Okay. I don't mean this as a negative to anyone else or to this country or any other family member, but my kids were always looked at as being well-mannered. Okay. Whenever they would pass someone, they would say, "Excuse me." They would always say, "Please." They would always say, "Thank you." They would always be very courteous. And I contribute that to the ground work that was done in them, the basic fundamentals of manners, of learning, what's right and what's wrong, to them spending time in the Bahamas, because the Bahamas is a country that really strive on respect, on understanding, being courteous to the elders and respecting your elders and so forth. And so that was ingrained in them from a young age. And even today, they are doing that same thing with their children. So I'm happy to see that has passed on. And then they're excited also about going back, and now they know their families in Nassau. They know their families in Freeport. It is not a big thing for them not to go down there and just have a great time because they have a lot of family. I come from a big family, 5 brothers and 5 sisters.
Wow.
Yes, we do.
Well, I'm the only child in my family, so I know
there are always pluses and minuses on both sides, though.
Right. You mentioned about entrepreneurship there in the Bahamas, but because I guess tourism plays a great factor in the income, right?
Yes. In fact, when I was finished with high school, I was really trying to decide what I was going to do as far as my future. I just happened to apply to a college in Iowa, got accepted, didn't look at anything else, and I ended up going there. I guess that was God's divine plan for me to meet my wife. I don't know.
Right.
But prior to that, the plan for a lot of people, to be honest with you, is that you would get a job after you finish with high school, if you don't go to college, in the tourist industry, which is the largest industry and what really keeps that country going. Okay. The second industry is banking, and then they have farming and fishing and so forth. But that was probably the direction I was going to go in. One way I have utilized it, though, since I've been living here, is that a lot of people ask me, where do you go for vacation? Well, I go to the Bahamas for vacation. It's very cost effective because I don't have to find a hotel. I don't have to find transportation. Right. I don't have to worry about food because I eat very well. Matter of fact, I'll be leaving to go there on Friday, and I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I got you just in time,
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. But just it's a great country, but it also teaches you that, you have to find your way to be successful. And it teaches you that ability to really go there and cater to people, to be that servant, because that's what really tourism is all about. It's about catering to the guests that come to that country to have a good time. And that's instilled in you from the very beginning. I remember my father, as a young kid, just always teaching us to be courteous to the guests, because that's what keeps this country going.
Right.
And every time I talk to someone and they said, I've been to the Bahamas, but I didn't have a good time. Be honest with you, Dr. Waddell, I take that personally, and I feel upset. I always try to see, is there any way I can right this wrong? Because sometimes things don't always happen the way you want to. You may go down there and it rained the whole week. That's nature. But someone will look at that and say, well, they had a bad experience. And I feel like, wow, I wish there was something I could do about that, because it is a great country and it's a great place to enjoy. Like they say, it's better in the Bahamas.
Right along with your occupation, though, too, it plays a great part. You're a marketing and with an investment group. Right. But tell us that how did you get involved with the investment?
That's a great question. I will say this first of all, is that as an entrepreneur, I've started several businesses, mostly in the health and nutrition field. And one of my goals there was so that my wife and I can live to be and look as good as you and your wife do in your 80s. And that is something that we've always instilled in people and tried to work in that arena in the health and nutrition industry. I had a very thriving business that was based out of Florida, and it just kind of took toll when, like every other business back in the late 2000s, 2008, 2009, where the business just started to decline because of losing customers, losing clients. And so a lot of people were affected by that, and so was I. And so I found myself, to be honest with you, in kind of the wilderness of my business and my career and where I was going to go from there. And was kind of distraught for a minute and still on the way of climbing my way out of that. And that's just being very honest with you and the audience, is that, and I will say this in saying that, is that no matter what difficulties you've gone through or what you are maybe going through right now, don't give up hope. Keep your attitude and your posture very positive, because it may be a trial that you're going through, but there is a way out. And if you just stay focused and keep Christ and God in your life, it will get you out of it and moving on to what he has planned for you. So that's where I'm at right now. I was fortunate to run into a gentleman that is a very good friend of mine. We went to Luther College together over 30-something years ago. And he started talking to me about working with him in investment and marketing in the real estate area. And at the time he told me about it, I really wasn't hearing it. And the reason being, Dr. Brooks, is that I was in the process of losing my business in Florida. Well, I just closed it down. I was losing a house in Florida. My wife and I had a house in Texas that we were paying the mortgage for that was not rented. So it was difficult times for us. And so I couldn't see why anyone would even talk to me about real estate. What I came to know and learn, though, that real estate investing is something that was a viable option for me because of my mortgage background and the knowledge of what I have in dealing with selling and buying houses and finding the financing for it. It was the perfect fit for me. So I had to open my eyes to that and not just keep a blind eye to it because of what I was hearing in the media as far as real estate being in the tank, as far as people losing their homes, people foreclosing and all those kinds of things. And I realized that the reality of it is that this is an opportune time for a lot of people to get involved with real estate investing. And so I pursued it. And right now I am in the process of re-educating myself by taking courses in that area. And at the same time, actively looking for properties to acquire and invest in. And so that's been my focus for the last 6 months or so, and it's kind of a new start for me. I just started a company again called Servant Enterprises, and let me tell you a little bit about that. My name is Cyrl, which is Cyrl. It's a British name, and the meaning of that word is lordly or godly authority. And servant, I've always looked at my skill set or my personality as being a servant, and so I kind of put the word servant and my name together with Cyrvant, which means a godly servant. Which is what I really want to do and really want to be in Lake County, is a godly servant to those that are going through difficult times with maintaining their mortgages and their homes. Maybe they are in over their head because their property is upside down. Maybe they're behind on their mortgage. They're heading towards foreclosure. I have the ability to come in now and help that individual get out of that situation where they can walk away gracefully without tarnishing their credit any longer, or to where they can at least have a peace of mind and be able to be in a situation where everyone wins, where I can help them and I can help myself at the same time. And so that's what I'm doing right now. It is a business I see that I'm going to grow. My wife is on board with me. We're going to be working this together. And we're excited about it. And our goal is in the next 5 years to help hundreds of people in those situations acquire a number of homes. And I know you know about real estate and buildings and so forth. And right now we're being mentored by some great people, the Wetzels out of Chicago. And we're basically looking at this as our future. And the idea is to go full force in creating and helping so many people that we'll be able to have the ability to retire at an early age and maybe even do some traveling back and forth to the Bahamas on a regular basis.
For our listeners, though, how would they get in contact with you?
There's a couple of ways. They can reach me directly by the number 224-419-5552.
Okay.
Okay, and you can, if you don't reach me directly, leave a message and I will get right back to you. Again, that number is 224-419-5552.
What about emailing?
And you can reach me by email by Cyrl@jervisglobal.com. And I'll spell that out. That's CYRIL at Jervis Global, which is JERVISGLOBAL.com. So Cyrl, my first name, at JervisGlobal.com. Cyrl at JervisGlobal.com. They can reach me that way.
You know, I was kind of forced into real estate because we had 3 youngsters that we wanted them to have the best education.
Right.
Okay. But on the regular jobs, we know that we couldn't afford it. So we got involved in apartment buildings. We got 30 units. Well, not at one time. No, right. We got, I guess, 18 at one time, then 12, another building for 12 units. Okay. And once they finished college, we had an opportunity to sell the buildings, and because we really didn't want to stay in real estate, But now, is this a good time to buy real estate now?
You know what? That example you gave is just so perfect, because it is a great time to buy right now. For several reasons. Number one, because there have been so many foreclosures, the prices of home are very low.
Okay.
At this time in the economy, we don't see the Fed really raising interest rates that high, or at least not quickly. And that's a possibility, but we don't see it happening right away.
Okay.
So right now, money is what we call in our industry cheap. In other words, you can get a loan for 2%, 3%, 4%, depending on your credit rating. And that really will keep your mortgage payment down. So investing in real estate now, being able to acquire the property at a low price where you have a low mortgage payment, or even in some cases, some people are just buying them cash out.
Is that commercial?
This is mostly residential I'm talking about.
Oh, residential, okay.
Yeah, mostly residential I'm talking about, but also in multifamily units as well. This is a great time to do it. One thing I love about the program that I'm associated with, which is called Renatus National, they have a plan, and this is what attracted me to them, is that they had a clear path, a clear, direct goal for people to acquire.
Okay.
In other words, they would say, in 5 years, Dr. Brooks, we want you to acquire 10 properties, averaging $1,000 a month. And then the next goal is to acquire another 10 properties, averaging $1,000 a month. Then you take those first 10 properties, sell them, use the equity in the properties from them to pay off the total balance of the other 10. Now you have 10 homes free and clear, averaging $1,000 a month. That's $10,000. See, a lot of times it's not about making millions of dollars. It's about having a plan and having something that's consistent. And there's no reason why, in my eyes, and maybe just in mine, why someone can't live comfortably off of $10,000 a month, debt-free, with no mortgages, and just having to pay the taxes and utilities.
If a person failed to plan, then they plan to fail.
They plan to fail.
Right.
And that is what this program teaches you. It teaches you to plan. But not only, they go another step. They actually assist you by giving you tools and programs and teach you how to do different techniques and ways of doing this, and they assist you by creating a community. Here's what my goal is. There's a group of people that are investors that out of Downers Grove that has a great office there where they support, they encourage, they even help each other acquire properties. Okay. I want to establish that same thing here in Lake County. And I am looking right now for people to assist me, people who have that leadership skill and who have the desire to do something more than what they're doing right now. We're not asking people to quit their jobs. We're not asking people to get away from what they're doing, but just to come and bind our talents and our gifts together to create a team where we can go out there and really affect this Lake County area by helping people in tough situations in regard to their homes and their mortgages. And I know that we can do that. And so we're looking to help people do that. And then, again, we'll teach them how to buy a piece of property and hold on to that property if it's a good property and rent it out and make money on a consistent basis. We'll teach them how to buy a piece of property, maybe put a little bit of work in it, put some paint, do some landscaping, some new fixtures and so forth, appliances, and sell that property to make a profit. We'll teach them how to acquire multi-units like what you did. And if it's something that they're not wanting to do for a long term, again, your example is a perfect example. Do it to accomplish what your financial goals are, and then go ahead and sell it and live happily ever after. But the thing is that it's up to you what you want to do. It's not a situation where you are you have to go on and do something that you're not comfortable with. You're not doing something where you have to be at work at a certain time. Because again, I thank God for being able to have a job to pay the bills, but you don't want to work all your life for someone else, making someone else rich, where you're just having that linear income. You go to work, you get paid. If you don't go to work, you don't get paid. If you have 10 homes consistently bringing you in $1,000 a month, the economy even is not going to affect you that much, because even let's say, for example, that drops down to $7,000, $8,000 a month, you have some vacancies, you're still in the position to be in control of your own finances and your own life.
The wife and I didn't have the opportunity to have a professional person like you to get started. My grandfather was a sharecropper, and I used to go with him to sell his crops at the end of the year, and there's only one set of books. Well, even as a teenager, going with him to the country store, I knew there has to be 2 sets of books, and that encouraged me to major in business.
Right.
And so that's why I got my inkling, my knowledge to start business. Once we start the daycare center, then we use the equity out of that to build the nursery.
Right.
And once we get that, we use the equity from those to build the resource center.
Right.
So we didn't have that professional, but for those that want to use your expertise, then they will call 224-419-5552 to make an appointment with you, and you're always available at that number. Or they can email you. You have another email number you want to share?
Yes. You can reach me at Cyrl at jarvisglobal.com. CYRIL@JERVISGLOBAL.com. And you can reach me anytime. And what I do right now, Dr. Brooks, is every other Tuesday, and tomorrow will be one of the days I will be doing this, and it probably won't be aired before that. But the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, I have a gathering at my home where I am looking for those leaders that I've been talking about, that we can get together, we can do a briefing of what we do, and just to expose it to people to see if they're interested in partnering with me to really get this off the ground here in Lake County.
North Chicago will be a prime example for this. We got so many foreclosures, and that the people would really benefit from your services.
Absolutely. And you'd be surprised how many people are just looking for peace of mind. They're in a situation where they don't know. They don't have the answers. They're not educated. And that's the key thing that we stress, Dr. Brooks, is education, which I know you are a big proponent of. And not just education from a traditional standpoint, but educational in a defined area like real estate investing that will teach you, to tell you the truth, the things that we teach in our real estate courses are things that should be taught in every high school in America. And what I mean by that is that they not only teach you how to acquire property, but they teach you how to start a business, how to take advantage of tax write-offs, how to establish a business and utilize what you have to be successful. They teach you how to set up retirement accounts, IRAs, Roth IRAs. What's the difference between those things? How to set up 401ks. The fact that a lot of people, for example, don't know that they have IRAs and 401ks right now in the company that they're in, they've been in for years, or they were at for many years, and that money sitting there that those companies are using, they can take the same money, do a self-directed Roth IRA, and have control of that money to do whatever they want to do and not be penalized by it. A lot of people just don't know that. That is what is education and why it's so important. A good mentor of mine told me something that resonated with me. A lot of people think education in general or real estate investing education is expensive. But what they don't understand is that ignorance is even more expensive. And that's why a lot of people, and I was one of them, had a negative outlook on real estate investing was because I wasn't educated. And which we did, and that's why I ended up losing my house in Florida. Had I known what I know now, I would have never lost that house in Florida. Unfortunately, it became upside down, and I had to do a short sale on it. And but I was able to get out of it, and it gave me a peace of mind on having that. And that's where a lot of people in North Chicago, Waukegan, in Lake County in general, that are going through that right now, who wouldn't mind saying, you know what, I'm 7-8 months behind in my mortgage. I'm just staying here and I'm able to make the mortgage payment. I need someone to show me what I need to do, and that's where I come in.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Mr. Cyrl CJ Jarvis of
Servant Enterprises.
Servant Enterprises. So he's with the marketing and investment group. He had youngsters that attended Toston Toddlers Daycare Center approximately 30 years ago. Yes. And by the grace of God, we met at Super Fresh and Market and Waukegan. And I don't think it was just an accident that we God arranged a plan for us to meet. We hadn't seen each other in a long time, and arranged to be on a program. Right. And what you're doing is sharing information that will be a blessing to many others.
All right.
And I'm so happy that you took your time, and your wife would have been here also, but she had another meeting,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And you tell her I said hello, and we're going to be getting together soon. And in North Chicago, I know maybe Waukegan and Zion, I'll be referring several people to you to get this information that they couldn't get up at 5 o'clock Sunday mornings, to get this information.
Right.
But I would like to say this, though, that and the writer is unknown. The things that you do for yourself will leave when you're gone.
That's right.
But the services or the things you do for others, will remain as your legacy.
Right.
So things that you're doing now will remain as your legacy, and we certainly appreciate. Now, Bahamas. There's so many. You talked about the climate, and we could have spent another program talking about the resources are there, and about the employment situation, how important education is. The income, for example, of is probably low too, right? The family
absolutely,
income.
And that's why there are so many people that have a regular job, whether it be in tourism, whether it be in the government environment, or banking or fishing or whatever. They usually have something else that they do to supplement their income.
Okay,
yes.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Community Focus. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.